Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to share with you 10 fragrances that surprised me when I first wore them and smelled them. 8 of these are good, 2 of these are not so good, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about them. So if you'd like to know what those fragrances are, then keep watching. I hear a cat screaming on the other side of this wall. He is very lonely and he wants to be played with. Unfortunately, I am filming, so he's gonna have to wait just a little bit. So if you hear some very soulful meows in the background, that's just pancakes being pancakes. Now these scents, most of these, I think all of these were blind buys. I spent money on all of these fragrances. One of these fragrances, I was familiar with how it was going to smell. It was just a different formulation. But I did have expectations for all of these. Now, I don't usually recommend blind buying fragrances. I do a lot of blind buying purchasing, specifically mostly to film for my channel. I did a whole video talking about my thoughts and opinions on blind buying. I will link that video below. Also, if I have any reviews of these fragrances, I will link that video below. Now, instead of starting with the ones that surprised me in a positive way, I'm going to start with the ones that disappointed me. And let's get into this. First one that disappointed me doesn't have to do with the way that it smells, but with the way that it performs. And I actually really love the composition of this fragrance, but I am way more impressed by how the body mist performs in regards to how it smells, how it projects, and its longevity. And it's from Sol de Janeiro, and it's Sol Chorizo 62. Now, I like to wear this fragrance. I love the smell of the Boom Boom Cream, but the body mist, I believe it's called Brazilian Crush, to me just is way worth the money in regards to its projection, in regards to its longevity, and just in regards to how it generally performs overall. That body mist just is a beast in regards to everything, and it is so much cheaper than the perfume. I get, if I'm lucky, and I layer it with the Boom Boom Cream, which I wear all the time. I really love their products. Maybe if I'm lucky, 4 hours with the Boom Boom Cream, and my skin is like properly moisturized and it's not crazy, gross, and oppressive outside. Normally I get 1 to 2 hours with this. This is very fleeting. Now, this is a great scent if you want a fleeting fragrance. Sometimes people want to wear something maybe for an event, or they're going someplace and they don't like the idea of having to scrub off a scent, or they're going to wear something else later in the day. If you like to wear different scents and you want something that's not going to stay on your skin too long, there are some people and some events and occasions where you maybe don't want something to last on your skin for a super long period of time. And there are times where I do that with this fragrance. I do say this smells really good. The general composition of I would say the original formula of the Bum Bum Cream and the Brazilian Crush and the Sol Chorizo 62 is something that's really delicious and sexy and attention grabbing and confidence, and you will definitely get compliments. It is so ridiculously sexy and attractive. So I mean, just the way that this fragrance smells is beautiful. But I thought, specifically knowing how well the body mist performs, I was disappointed at the longevity of this, especially considering the price point. Now, the price point of this isn't crazy expensive. I believe it's like under $80. I think this is around $75, $78. I don't know the exact price point of this. So that is what I would consider around the price point of a designer fragrance, but I would expect more than 2 hours on the skin and a little bit more than very minimal, and I mean very minimal, projection. So if you're looking for more of a fleeting, discreet version of Sol de Janeiro's Boom Boom Cream smell or their body mist, this works really well. It's also a nice product if you know somebody who really likes that smell and they want an additional product to go with their collection. I know a lot of people really like to collect these products. Then I would say this would be worth it more as a collecting piece for them to put on their vanity or to wear as something kind of nice and more thoughtful. But to go out and to get this because you think it's going to perform better than the body mist, no. The body mist is better in every sense of the word, at least in my opinion. But I do think it's a sexy fragrance. But in regards to this, surprisingly disappointed in regards to its performance. Fragrance is a flanker, and it's a flanker of a designer scent that I actually really enjoy and I wear a lot. This scent is from a house that I know can create good fragrances. I wouldn't say that these fragrances are some of the most iconic designer fragrances, but they're very wearable, and they're the types of scents that just do a good job at making you smell really good. And this specific fragrance that this is a flanker to, I think is one of the best from the house and something I enjoy wearing. And when I heard about this flanker, I was excited and I was disappointed because I feel like it just missed the ball in every capacity. And it is turquoise, or Dylan Turquoise. It's obviously the flanker to Dylan Blue. Now, this isn't a bad fragrance. It's not. It smells like it should almost be a flanker to like Bright Crystal or Yellow Diamond or something like that. Yellow Crystal. I'm just one of those. One of the crystals in Versace. One of those guys. It doesn't smell like in any capacity that it has anything related to Dylan Blue. And with flankers, I would expect, aside from the bottle's gorgeous. I really like the bottle. I would expect some form of DNA or some form of inspiration from the original. Now, there's a variety of different ways flankers can go. They can be a completely different formulation in regards, one's an eau de parfum, one's an eau de toilette, so they kind of tweak the notes a little bit to kind of give it a fresher, lighter version, but they smell very similar. Or you can have flankers where you smell the DNA, or you can smell that there is something that was an inspiration to the flanker, but it's its own unique scent. And then you have ones that just smell lazy. This just could have been its own fragrance, or it could have been a flanker to one of the Bright Crystals. It just has nothing to it, at least to my nose, that smells even remotely similar or close, or in any way tying it to Dylan Blue aside from the shape of the bottle. Now, it is a great summertime beachy scent. You can layer this with a variety of different fragrances. You guys know I'm a broken record. I love to layer this with Le Monde Verde from Guerlain. It's one of my favorite layering fragrances. I say it all the time. It actually works really well if you want it to be a little bit more woody. Works really well with, again, Molecule 1. You guys know I layer that with everything too, but there is something about this that is pleasant. There is something about this that I would consider to be a utilitarian, dumb grab, workhorse scent for summertime in regards to it being very fresh, bright. The guava in here is a nice touch for a unique fruit. But I was surprised at the lack of, in any way, being tied to Dylan Blue and how it smelled. Like, nothing about it was even remotely reminiscent of Dylan Blue, and there was like something in here that kind of made it a little bit more of like a refreshing, watery floral, something. I think it would have been super successful, but it just felt like they were trying to jump on the love of Dylan Blue, because I don't think many people were looking at the crystals, people were looking at Dylan Blue, and it just felt really lazy. I think that this probably would have been more successful, honestly, released as its own scent. I think personally, based on my limited experience and knowledge. But this really disappointed me as more of lazy marketing, and at the end of the day, I was expecting something really awesome because I really do like Dylan Blue, and I was just like, womp womp. Now, the next 8 are ones that I had a very good experience with. Some of these just surprised me based on how they smelled, scent memories, just something unique and special. So I wanted to share my thoughts with you. The first one is Sandalwood and Oak from Scents of Wood. This was a scent bird. I wanted to try this one out. I'd seen a little bit of people talk about this house, and I do love smelling like a tree. So I reached a decision one day to try this out on Scentbird, and I was impressed. And I love Scents of Wood now, and I want to have more bottles of them. I have 2 full-size bottles. I've had their subscription service. I forget if I still have their subscription service. I didn't sign up for it in 2022, but if I still have it, great. If not, it is what it is. But I do have, I think, most of their fragrances in their little travel size, which is really, really cute. But there's just something about the way that this smells with the pink peppercorn and the wood. it's just so gorgeous and so sexy, and how I like to smell, especially when I wanted to smell like wood but have that kind of sexy, kind of attention grabbing spiciness from pink pepper. You guys know how I feel about pink pepper. So this really surprised me. I wasn't expecting to like it nearly as much as I do. So this one was one that I was like, oh, okay, yes, I'm enraptured with you. One that I was super excited for. And I don't own too many fragrances from this house, but I do really like this house. And I talked about this when I reviewed this scent. Like I said, if I have reviews of any of these, I will link them below. This is from Imaginary Offers, and it's a whiff of waffle cone. Now, this fragrance, I think, has become one of their more popular fragrances that they've recently released. It's very whimsical. It's very conceptual. This is what I like to see in perfumery. I mean, I like to see a lot of different things, but I like to see very creative prompts turned into wearable fragrances. And I have a experience with waffle cones, obviously not this particular Salt and Straw, not their particular ice cream parlor, but I used to, my second job after I worked at Douglas Cosmetics was at an ice cream parlor, and one of my main jobs was to spend hours a day making waffle cones. So I would smell like waffle cones. So I know what an ice cream parlor smells like, and I know what waffle cones smell like. So this just kind of tickles me because it reminds me like of high school and wearing an orange fuzzy bow tie and making waffle cones for hours a day. But this smells so good because, again, I really like the way this smells. So I wouldn't say that this is a literal, and I mean literal, translation of a ice cream parlor, because there's some parts of an ice cream parlor you don't want to smell like. But what I do like is that there's something about this that's really delicious, really playful, really whimsical, but at the same time, it does have a presence on the skin that's somewhat creamy, somewhat sexy, that you could wear it in all seriousness as a fragrance. So what I mean by that is there some scents out there, like when I was in high school, my best friend would wear a cotton candy fragrance and I would wear a gummy bear fragrance sometimes. And those were for like marketed towards like little girls, and we thought it was fun. And my best friend had really short hair that was like cotton candy colored. So it was kind of fun that she would wear cotton candy. And I just really liked the way the gummy bear fragrance smelled. But hers literally smelled like cotton candy, and mine literally smelled like you melted gummy bears. So those types of fragrances that are like candy-like and food-like were obviously marketed towards like little girls. By little girls, I mean probably like 7, 8 years old, but obviously I wanted to smell like a gummy bear too, in between smelling like Clinique Happy and Elizabeth Arden. This fragrance, you would think it smells like an ice cream cone. You would think it would be more of one of those extremely juvenile scents marketed towards young children as something gimmicky and more as a novelty toy experience and less as a fragrance, because ice cream cone. But what I like about it is if you didn't know it was marketed as an ice cream cone fragrance, if you didn't know that it was supposed to be in tandem with an ice cream shop and you just smelled it, it's a really wearable, beautiful, gourmand fragrance. And so if you're trying to wear this as a person who loves gourmand, maybe wants a little bit more aromatic, something a little bit more delicious, but less really focusing on something super sugary sweet, there is a nice balance in here with the cinnamon. It's something that you can take seriously as a fragrance and not as some type of novelty gimmicky scent like, you know, cotton candy and gummy bear. But I do enjoy this one a lot. This is a scent that is really nice. I don't wear it as much as I should, but I do like it, and it surprised me. And I'm not surprised because I know this house can create really great scents, but I was surprised at the nice balance and kind of realistic note between an ice cream shop and also a wearable, serious fragrance. So I like it a lot, and I was very pleased with it. There was a house like a year or two ago, and it was started by a YouTuber. And I had been following the opening of this house, and I really wanted to support the house. I was really excited for the fragrances, and I decided to purchase one scent, and it did cost a bit of money. It was like $300, but I knew that this was the cost of the natural materials and everything coming together, so I knew it was going to be pricey. But I did have an expectation that I wanted it to at least be something that smelled elevated and really beautiful in quality, especially because I know that this reviewer had a very high quality taste when it comes to fragrances. So I expected that at least they would understand that the level of fragrance that they would release would at least smell like it was worth $300. So the brand is Parfums, and the fragrance that I purchased was Melifera. Now, I know that he has rebranded his bottles. I know that James has redone his marketing and has done, I know he sells on Lucky Scent, and I know it's kind of been taken off a little bit, which is really awesome. I only own 2 bottles, Wine and Chocolate, you can see it right there, and Melifera, which is the 50 ml bottle, and then the 30 ml bottle of Wine and Chocolate. The reason why I wanted to purchase this one, and I had very high expectations for it, was because I love honey. Now, honey fragrances to me are some of the most beautiful on my skin. I know how my body chemistry, how my skin plays off specific notes. I have a very good canvas for fragrance. I do. I'm very lucky. I think that's why I like a lot of things, because generally fragrances smell very good on me. I've heard that from a lot of different people. My mom, other fragrance reviewers, a bunch of people, like smelling on my skin the same fragrance on somebody else. For some reason, my body chemistry works really well for fragrances. And one of the best types of scents that smell really, really good on my skin are very honey dominant fragrances. So I love honey, just generally how it smells. And I love it, a good complex honey fragrance that doesn't take away from the complexity of honey. So there's obviously a variety of different ways honey can smell. It can smell super sweet, it can smell light, it can smell refreshing. One of my favorite fragrances that's been discontinued was Honey Gentle Water from L'Occitane. I could cry into a pillow for nights over the loss of that scent. Bee from Zoologist, super gorgeous scent, absolutely adore. But I like a complexity. And what I like about Melifera is that you get a lot of the different aspects of the bee. You get a waxiness, you get like a balsamic kind of, just kind of tanginess. You get the honey, you get like a royal jelly vibe. It's just, there's so much beauty in this honey fragrance that I love. It's like a deep, rich honey, but then you get like, again, like that waxiness, that balminess, that balsamic kind of edge that it has, but it's still a honey fragrance through and through. And I love the complexity and the nuances that this fragrance has, while at the same time staying true to honey. So that's why this was such a surprise. I was expecting a good honey fragrance, almost demanding it, because this was a very pricey fragrance. But I know that the ingredients that James uses are very expensive, considering he does use mostly natural ingredients. That was one of the things that I was really excited to see with somebody who was trying to really use natural ingredients and be something that they were really excited to kind of create. I talked about it when I was mentioning my Parfums video. I'll link that video below if you want to know what I'm talking about, so I don't talk in a circle or make this video too long. But I was super surprised at just how gorgeous this fragrance was and how complex it was, and it's become my favorite honey scent. So this one just surprised me because it was my first purchase. It was very expensive. I was a little apprehensive to spend this much money on a fragrance house that I hadn't had any experience with. And I bought this, I think, on launch day. So it was a little bit of a risk, but it was a risk I was worth taking. And definitely I'm super happy because it is an absolutely gorgeous honey fragrance. So I need to purchase more fragrances from Parfums, but I've just been on a kind of trying to fill other holes in my collection. So hopefully later this year I'll be purchasing a few more. But this is just still my favorite honey, and surprised me how beautiful and nuanced and complex it is, how much complexity it has, while still being just a honey scent, just honey. I feel like I always mention this scent, so I'm not going to go too into it, but if this is your first time tuning in, I love this house. I love this fragrance. I knew this fragrance was going to smell good. This one surprised me by how much I feel a deep personal connection to this because of scent memories, and it's from Royal Crown, and it's Oud Jasmine. Now this is probably the most expensive fragrance on this list, but I always say that my saying with this scent is, this is the scent of my dreams, because growing up I would go to sleep. There was a giant night blooming jasmine bush right outside my window by my bed. So every night I would go to sleep with the scent of night blooming jasmine, and it was a very idealistic way. And I felt very comforted, very happy, very beautiful. And this just kind of smells like all the positive, happy, comforting, loved memories I had growing up with my family with the jasmine. So gorgeous scent just in general, but I was surprised by how it smelled, because it has like this nighttime soft sweetness, roundness, and coolness. And it's just really sexy and really beautiful. And it, again, it reminds me, definitely kind of transports me to the times when I was young and I was sleeping in my bed and I felt loved and happy and safe. So this surprised me, A, because it was beautiful, and also I didn't know it was going to take me to those scent memories, to those times in my life. So I have a very a strong attachment to this fragrance. Now, this is a fragrance that I purchased. I think I purchased it on Depop. And I love this house. This is like my favorite, I would say, elevated premier line from a designer house. Normally I say it's a tie between Maison Lancôme and this house, but I go back and forth. And I feel like this house, specifically this higher level premier line, is usually so underappreciated. And it's Armani Privé. And the fragrance that just took me by surprise was New York. Now, I've talked before about finding deals on fragrances like Tradesy, Mercari, Depop. You have to be very mindful about purchasing from places, but if you find a way to make sure you purchase authentically, you can find amazing deals. This retails, I think, for $375. I forget how much I spent on it. I feel like it was maybe like 100 or like 150, maybe at most 200. Like I saved a lot of money on this scent. And I love this house, and I was willing to purchase it blind. So I hadn't even heard about it. I think it's only sold at Bergdorf Goodman and like one other place. I don't even think you can get it on Armani's website. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I hadn't heard of it. So I was like, I'll buy it because I love this house. I want to try it. It seems like a really good deal. Why not? So I purchased it. And I got in the car when I purchased this. I picked it up at my P.O. box. And I remember opening it and thinking, wow, this bottle is beautiful, because I love their presentation. And I kind of went like this. I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no. I was like, this is gorgeous. I was like, oh no, I'm going to wear through this. I don't know if you guys can't see. So I don't know if you can show a light. Let me show you. So normally people ask me like, they say like, you don't see like, it doesn't look like I wear through my fragrances. I wear a lot, but there's some fragrances I overspray and underspray. I have worn this bottle is half full. This bottle is half full. If I found out this fragrance was discontinued, I would buy 2 backups of this. There's like no other fragrance from this house, even Rose d'Araby, which is one of my like top 5 fragrances. I wear this fragrance from that house more than any other scent. This is, and I've talked about like my definition of what sexy is. I talked about this in my video of like fragrances to wear for Valentine's Day. My definition for me of when I feel sexy, when I feel confident, when I feel like I'm dressed up and ready to have a nice sensual evening with whoever, and by whoever I mean whoever I would be having a date with. Obviously it would be John, but my definition of dressing up and doing something sensual and sexy and makes me feel confident and attractive, as this potato face can be, is fragrances like this. Now, generally, Powder de Fleur from Royal Crown and Iris from Xerjoff are the ones, to me, that have the most sensuality, but they are so heavy on the iris, they're not as wearable for me around the type of environment that I live in. Now, this one I can wear all the time, and I do. I wear this one all the time, you guys. I love it. And now I'm thinking I should just buy a backup of this because I'm worried I'll never have it again. It has this beautiful soft powder, but it's like a very soft floral powder. There's no staleness to it. And even though I do love a stale, powdery, beautiful scent, it's light and fluffy and billowy, and it's got like this kind of beautiful kind of vegetal carroty sweetness to it. Ugh, it's just so gorgeous and so sexy and so wearable, and I knew I was gonna like it. I didn't know I was gonna like it as much as I do. I didn't know I was gonna wear it as much as I do. And I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear? Yeah, it's like half full. It's like half full. So this is probably one of my most worn fragrances in my entire collection. And it's just so gorgeous. And the first time I smelled this in my car, I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, this is gorgeous. And I knew how expensive this bottle was. And I'm like, this is going to be one I'm going to wear all the time because it's so beautiful. Now I have 3 more fragrances. One is a fragrance that I was really anticipating the release of, and I was so excited for it. And I've talked about it. It was released last year, and it's Scent from Above from Dolly Parton. Now, this surprised me because I was expecting something like this, and I have such a high respect for Dolly Parton. I mean, there are very few people out there that I think are super talented, but also are to their core, like, just good people. Like, there's some, like, celebrities and super rich people out there that do good things, and then there's people out there that are celebrities and talented that I think are just good people. And Dolly Parton is just, on top of just being one of the most talented people to ever walk this planet, I love her. I just think to her core, to her atoms, is just one of the most beautiful people to ever walk this planet. I love her. I just look up to her so much. And when I realized she was releasing a fragrance, I was excited. I love her absolute, complete conviction and her complete just pride in who she is. She's like, I am glamorous woman. And I think that there's nothing wrong with being proud of however you are, whoever you are. If you are the type of person that you enjoy being more natural, if you're the type of person where you enjoy being a little bit more dressed up, if you want to be more androgynous, if you want to be more masculine, if you want to be more feminine, I will support anyone who is proud to be themselves. And I know that a lot of times when people are put on a pedestal, when people are a little bit more extra, sometimes it's harder to be completely true to who you are. And what I love about Dolly Parton is she has always been extra. She's always been, and she's never been apologetic about it. She's like, this is who I am. This is me. And I love that. And I think that that's such a fantastic example for anyone, man or woman. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what age you are. I don't care, again, if you're more masculine, if you're more feminine, if you're the type of person who you like to dress up and you like to be a little bit more glamorous, or if you like to wake up and be more natural. I love the fact that she is like, this is who I am, and I'm proud of who I am, and anyone else be damned. And I think that that kind of mentality is so refreshing and so healthy, because it doesn't matter if you want to wake up and not wear a lick of makeup, or if you want to wake up and just make yourself glamorous just for you. As long as you are doing it for you and it makes you happy and it makes you confident, that's what matters. And that's one part of Dolly that I love. But I also love that when you look at her, you see how well put together she is. You see how glamorous this woman is. She is glamorous and boisterous and over the top in all the right ways. And I would always expect that a woman like that would smell perfumed. A woman like that would smell very glamorous, very soft, very, again, like makeup and body oils and powders. Like, I would expect her to have a signature smell, because I know people who are very glamorous, who have their hair done a specific way, they have a specific amount of makeup, and there's a soft, sensual smell about them because of all those products, are perfumed, are fragranced. And I was excited when she wanted this to kind of be like that. I was excited to see, is this going to be like that? But I didn't want it to be quite literal. I also wanted it to be along the lines of something wearable. So when this came out, I bought it, obviously I bought it, but I was so surprised because this is almost exactly what I would expect. And I was surprised because there are times where I'm let down by more affordable fragrances, I would expect at some point there would be a disjointedness between like a creative prompt and an end product. And I like the fact that there's no disjointedness. This is just fantastic. So this surprised me by how accurate it smells. It's so beautiful. There's a maturity, there's a femininity, there's a playfulness, there's a softness, there's a sweetness. It definitely smells like you're giving Dolly Parton a hug, or you're walking past her. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's not for everybody, but I think it's fantastic. And I know somebody in one of my old videos, when I was reviewing this fragrance, I completely agree with them. They said that this doesn't smell like an expensive fragrance. This smells like a fragrance you might get from like Avon or something like that. I completely agree with that. This doesn't smell like a super high-end, very expensive fragrance, but I don't think it's meant to be. I don't think this is meant to be like some super expensive luxury experience. This is supposed to smell kind of accessible and for everybody. And I like that. So, and I love Dolly. She's amazing. So, you know, that's just my opinion, but very, very impressed with this fragrance, and I love it. And I do wear it a bunch. I can't overspray it, but I do like it a lot. This one was a blind buy, literally at the store. I'm not going to go too much into it. It's discontinued, but this is so beautiful. And it's from Roja Parfums, and it's Kingdom of Bahrain. This is just beautiful. I don't wear this one a lot because it is discontinued, and because I love this so much. If I hit the microphone, I'm sorry. Because I love this one so much. I've talked about this perfume before a little bit. I was at my Neiman Marcus talking with my sales associate Larry, and they would get returns, and sometimes I would just buy the return so Larry and I could smell it. He'd be like, someone returned this and I really want to know what it smells like, and I'd be like, I'll buy it. And so somebody had returned this scent, and I was like, I think he was like, yeah, I want to smell what it smells like. And I was reading the notes on my phone. As I'm reading the notes on my phone, I like go in and I hand him my credit card. He's like, are you serious? You know how much this costs? I'm like, it's fine. We'll smell it together. We'll smell it together. And we both, and he always I love doing that. We did it for a few other fragrances. I didn't do it too often. I think I did it like a handful of times, but this one was one of the most memorable, because I remember us opening the box and me smelling this and him being like, was it a smart purchase? I was like, yes. I was like, oh yes, I'm so happy. This smells so good. So it smells to me like a bit, if I were to dumb it down for you, to TLDR it for you, like a lemon cookie, but like the most complex, beautiful, delicious lemon cookie. Like not like a lemon cookie you'd get like at the supermarket, like a lemon cookie you'd go to a very high-end bakery and spend like $15 on. There's so much nuances and aromatics and layers to this fragrance, but there's still a brightness and a liveliness about this scent. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I wish it wasn't discontinued, because I would wear this one so much. It smells so gorgeous on the skin. And as somebody that lives in a very hot and humid environment, I love very complex fragrances. And sometimes those are hard to wear in hot environments. They get too muddy, they get too oppressive, they get too suffocating. This one is gorgeous. So when you want a heavier, more complex fragrance in the middle of summertime in the tropics, this is gorgeous. And unfortunately, it's discontinued. So I wear this one very, very sparing, and I spray it once. And I just walk around and smell myself and wish it wasn't discontinued. So Roja, if you're watching this, I know you're not, please bring this back. It is so ridiculously gorgeous. But yeah, this one surprised me because I was reading the notes, I knew I was gonna like it, and I smelled it and I was just like, oh my goodness. I think it was also because I was so happy and relieved that I liked it as much as I did, because a full retail price, which I paid for, was like, I think it was like $550 before tax. I think I paid just under $600 for this. So yeah, it was not cheap, but very successful and very happy blind buy. And certainly not least, I love this house. I only own a few fragrances from this house. I like this one a lot because I feel like this is a great example of a nice, well-blended, well-crafted white floral. And it's the Harmonist Moon Glory. Now, all of the Harmonist fragrances that I bought have all been blind buys. This one is on the pricier side. I think it was $335. But what I like about this is it's such a beautiful, transportive, but still very easy to wear white floral fragrance. What surprised me about this is how sophisticated it is, but still how transportive it is. Sometimes very transportive white florals can be on the borderline, very tropical, very indolic, very fruity, more along the line of like coconut creamy fruity, which I love and are very sexy and very wearable. But there's a nice balance between sophistication, and I think it's done so effortlessly and beautifully, and I was very impressed by that with this scent. So that's what surprised me, was how beautifully this was well balanced. I also like that this is just a scent that is very wearable and still has a nice artistry about it. It didn't surprise me as much as the other fragrances in this list in regards to like a wow factor, but sometimes I'm surprised by a delicate balance between something that I expect and something that I didn't know I really wanted, which was this, which was just a nice, delicate, beautiful balance of white florals in a way where it's transportive enough, but still very sophisticated and very effortless and easy. So that's what I really enjoyed about the Harmonist Moon Glory. Guys, those are 10 fragrances from my collection that really surprised me. Again, 2 that kind of let me down and 8 that really just didn't let me down. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd love to know what fragrances you guys have been surprised with, positive or negative. Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.